I want to talk to you now a little bit about targeting in archery because I've heard quite a lot of suggestions mentioned about the fact that it creates panic in people, and I just want to help you understand that it's not the target that creates the panic when people are shooting. It's when they are focused on the outcome of the shot. This is very important to understand. The target is your friend and it needs to be the focus of your attention. But oftentimes when people are shooting, even though they're looking at the target, they do not see it. They do not see it because their attention is being occupied by some erroneous thoughts about their draw or the outcome of the shot. And as soon as you start getting involved in thoughts about some things that you cannot control, like the outcome, you will ultimately create this sense of anxiety within your system, which creates a poor release. So it doesn't matter if the target's 2 meters away or 100 meters away, it's never the problem. And I want you to understand, anybody that tells you to stop paying attention to your target and focus on something within the draw does not understand the visual system and how you perceive objects. It's very important to understand the difference between looking at an object and actually seeing it. We actually navigate through life using our awareness. Our brain is processing visual information all of the time, but we're not paying attention to that information. Occasionally we do. But more often than not, our attention is being occupied by noises or thoughts. We are switching our attention from one thing to another very quickly. Now, the ability to become single-pointed focused, where you're actually just paying attention to one thing and the one thing that you want, is not a skill that you often use deliberately. You use it quite naturally, for instance, when you're reading a book. Your concentration and your attention is being occupied by the words on the page. But if that book becomes boring, oftentimes, even though you're looking at the words on the page, your attention is shifted somewhere else. And that is ultimately the problem of concentration. So if you're looking down the range at your target and you're thinking about something else other than your target when you're executing, you are in effect going to be creating problems within your release because you're consciously trying to create a physical action. And as soon as you start using your prefrontal cortex in order to try and carry out a physical task, you're gone. The brain is not designed to carry out motor skills by effectively using the thinking part of the brain. So that's why this whole process that I've taken you through is designed to help you understand how to use your thinking brain up until the moment of release, which is when you simply move into a state of visualization where you're observing your target, but you're not thinking about the actions required to release the bow. So the mind is quiet, you're seeing the target, and when you feel everything is in place for the release, you release. There's no conscious effort to release. So when I'm taking a nice breath, I look towards my target. I'm not paying attention to my target. I'm paying attention to my raise. My front hand is in the right place on my bow. My elbow is nice and high. I now focus on getting a nice draw to my anchor point. And when I'm at my anchor point, having taken a nice breath in, whilst I'm expanding, that is when I'm doing my aiming. And when I feel that my target is in sight, that is when I'm ready to release. And I have not paid any attention to what's going on back here. The ability to see the target is a subject matter that might be a bit broad for this discussion, but your vision, what you see, is not just a function of your eye. The eye just processes the light information and it hits the back of the brain. but your ability to detect what it is that you're paying attention to within the brain involves you comparing information that's coming in with pre-existing memories and drawing on those to make sense of what it is you're looking at. Let me give you an example. I'm going to hold up some objects. Just listen to what happens in your internal voice, your perception system when I hold them up. Hopefully you heard yourself describe it as a golf ball. Juggling ball, possibly? That's how you see. You're making sense of the information. Now, if I hold this up, listen to yourself. There's probably some dialogue going on. What's that? Looks like a something or other. The point is, you're trying to make sense of the information that's coming in and comparing it with pre-existing memories. The memories are important because that's helping you create your current perception. Everything that I'm talking about through this program is about helping you build a memory for the draw, just as you have memories for faces and people and places. The brain has billions of neurons, and what you're trying to do through this process is develop a new memory for a new technical skill, which is drawing an archery bow. But you only need one memory. If you ultimately create conflicting memories because you keep changing your technical skills later, which one do you use to draw the bow? You will never create something that you can trust. So this combination of building trust through developing a single motor skill and being able to see your target is a skill set that clearly isn't being taught through your coaching programs, and oftentimes you will be led down garden paths in the wrong directions, being told not to think about targets when the target is your ultimate goal.